Ni besibia mesen Samira wa metonyo Ni besibia mesen Sha mesen Ni besibia mesen Samira wa metonyo Ni besibia mesen Anya sebia me penantia Jeta na minibi yeah Anya sebia me pepe Sikeya na minibi Sha Anya me pesa mene namba sabasa Medena medidi Tide biya mi wo grow me watan Hasona Wasa me ya ground Eradie I am in crabia ne free fie Pape I am in crabia ne free fie Sha I am in pena apena atwa Anasa du fie Eradie I am in Crabia Nefrifia. Yeah. Missing Ni Besibia missing Samira Metonum Ni Besibia missing Ni Besibia missing Samira Metonum Ni Besibia missing Say na me there mentias you Say na me yeah mentias you Inti na nena me when it yas last year anko ye Hey papa na me when it yas last year me no fie yeah me akantre my yasa sacro e moasa mini aho den manopa akwame de de asasa eradie I am in Crabia de Frifie Pape I am in Crabia de Frifie I atwa mempena apena anasa du fie eradie I am in Crabia de Frifie Mese Ni besibia mese Samira wa metonum Ni besibia mese Sha mese Ni besibia mese Samira wa metonum Ni besibia mese Say na me de mentiasi Say na me de mentiasi Inti na nena me when it yas last year anko ye Papa na me when it yas last year me no fie ye e akwantre ma yasa sacro e moasa mini aho den manopa akwame de odia sasa de adie I am in Crabia de frifie yeah Papa I am in Crabia de frifie You must be on man. If you everybody in a quan, yeah, you can't.
Hey guys, what's up? How are you guys doing? Good afternoon. Well, over here it's afternoon. So before I get into the topic, I actually wanted to share Dynas did a really interesting stream yesterday. And Dynas is called Search for Uru on here. And I guess he was like, why? And I honestly don't understand why this president is embarrassing people like this. He said, time for Africa to get reparations. Okay. But if you go down, Ghana's president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has called for slavery reparations to Africa and the Africa diasporas. Like, first and foremost, like, I know some people are going to think I'm a downer, but I don't think anybody should be asking for reparations. Not at the continent. Like, if other people want to ask for reparations, Caribbean, America, cool. But Africa shouldn't be asking for reparations. Like, someone was like, oh, he should be asking for reparations for colonization. I'm like, how can he be asking for reparations from colonization when he's willingly working with the British? Like, it doesn't make any sense. At least, does it? I mean, at least to me, it doesn't make any sense. You're sitting here saying hey, you need to give me reparations while also doing business with them. That's so weird to me. I don't know why. It's like, if you moved away from them and then you ask for reparations, I would understand, but you're still doing business with them, yet you want them to give you reparations. That is so backwards to me. So I don't know what this president is doing. I really don't know why he's even worrying about this. He needs to worry about his country. Like, he really needs to worry about fixing his country. Like, stop worrying about outsiders. Stop worrying about investments. Stop worrying about begging people for, just focus on your country, right? Like, seriously, just focus on your country. He put so much onus on like outsiders to try to fix the country, right? Like, seriously, just focus on your country. Sorry, one second. Yeah, he put so much onus on outsiders to come and fix the country when it's like that's your responsibility, not theirs. So in any case, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys agree with this? Because there were some Ghanaians, for whatever reason, they were agreeing with this. They were like, yeah, he's doing a good thing. I'm like, how is this good? Like, this is defeat, if you ask me. Like, this is actual defeat. This is the same president. Let me see if I can find videos, okay? This is the same president that says, oh, we need to stop working with the West. We need to stop doing this. We need, and he's always talking to the West. I don't know if you guys have seen those, let's say, Pan-African channel. I'll just call them Pan-African channels, okay? Hold on, let me see. Okay, so when he made a deal that he wasn't working with Switzerland anymore, people were so happy. But guess what? He's still working with England and all these other European countries. So I'm just like, whatever he tells you guys just jump. You guys just do backflips. Like he's I don't know. There's just something about him. I don't like. I guess some people will always love him.
About Ghana's fascinating music scene. The strongest ties between our two countries are the shared values with regard to democracy and the rule of law, and our commitment to stability and peace on the world stage. Both countries help to end conflict through international cooperation. Switzerland is known for its humanitarian tradition and its good offices. Ghana is an influential member of the African Union. Ghana's participation in the UN peacekeeping measures is also extremely impressive. Switzerland supports these efforts through the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in Accra since 2006. Ladies and gentlemen, not every connection between our two countries can be deduced at first glance.
Excellency the President and members of the Federal Council, I've had the privilege of visiting Switzerland several times since becoming President of the Republic of Ghana. My last visit was to Davos nearly a month ago, where I participated in the 50th anniversary meeting of the World Economic Forum. At the invitation of its founder and executive chairman, the world-renowned Professor Klaus Schwab. Happily, it is much warmer here in Bern. I thank President Simonetta Sommaruga, head of the 7-member Federal Council, for the honor of this state visit and for the opportunity to make this brief statement in the Federal Assembly, Switzerland's 2-century-old House of Parliament. Excellencies of the Federal Council, relations between our two countries date back to the 19th century, when the Basel missionaries arrived in the then Gold Coast, now Ghana, to undertake evangelical work. The missionaries pioneered the establishment of educational institutions across the country, including our first agricultural school at Akropong, my paternal hometown, in the eastern region of the country. Indeed, my own late father, President of Ghana's Second Republic, who was deeply imbued with the Presbyterian attributes of discipline, industry, integrity, and thrift, was a famous product of Akropong's celebrated Salem School. They are also credited with the establishment of health facilities, including a missionary hospital at Agogo in the Ashanti region, and were instrumental in the spread of the cultivation of cocoa, a commodity which has been for the last century the mainstay of the Ghanaian economy. The Christian community in Ghana is greatly indebted to the Basel missionaries, who are also responsible for the translation of the Bible from English into two of the main Ghanaian languages, and who have been accorded due honor by us. The names of Inter Elios, Andreas Ries, Johannes Gottlieb Christeler, and Fritz Ramsayer continue to reverberate in our history and collective memory. I've also personally benefited from these very good relations, because the first European head of state to visit Ghana when I assumed office as the fifth president of Ghana's Fourth Republic on 7 January 2017 was your 91st president, Her Excellency Mrs. Doris Leuthard. Excellencies, in recent times, the ties of friendship and cooperation between our two countries have grown even stronger. Technical and financial assistance from the Swiss government, which had provided to the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, have helped it carry out its activities and achieve its vision of becoming the preferred center on the continent for training, education, and research in matters of African peace and security. Again, in September 2014, the Swiss government provided assistance to Ghana, which helped ensure that the country did not record a single case of Ebola, the virus which unfortunately ravaged some neighboring countries in West Africa. In May 2017, our two countries signed a $2.6 million United States remittance grant facility to help lower the cost of remitting money to Ghana. Ghana is currently Switzerland's largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa, largely from the export of gold and cocoa to Switzerland and the import of chemical and pharmaceutical products, as well as light machinery and military equipment from Switzerland. However, as I have stated on occasion, Ghana no longer wants to be dependent on the production and export of raw materials, including cocoa beans. We intend to process more and more of our cocoa in our country with the aim of producing more chocolate ourselves, because we believe that there can be no future prosperity for the Ghanaian people in the short. However, as I have stated on occasion, Ghana no longer wants to be dependent on the production and export of raw materials, including cocoa beans. We intend to process more and more of our cocoa in our country with the aim of producing more chocolate ourselves, because we.
Okay, guys, sorry, I know it's a long clip or whatever, but I wanted to just put into the part where he said that Ghana no longer basically wants to export or use cocoa beans from Switzerland. Like, Ghana basically doesn't want to do business with Switzerland. A lot of people are like, oh, this is so good, this is awesome, but this is only one country. Like, I'm not that deep into the cocoa industry as I should be, but I'm sure Ghana still does business with other European countries. So I'm like, saying you're not going to do business with Switzerland is fine, but how about the other countries that you're doing business with? Like, it's interesting to me. I mean, some people are like, I should stop being so mean because that's one step. Okay, whatever. Instead of saying that you're not going to do business with certain people, why don't you advocate this? I don't even have an issue with Ghana doing business with Switzerland. obviously the issue is that Ghana doesn't price the cocoa bean. Like, outsiders price how much it is or how much they're going to make from that sale. So I'm like, instead of saying you're going to cut off people that you're doing businesses, why don't you actually advocate for more fair business practices? Like, wouldn't that make more sense? But you know what? This is the best president ever. Everyone loves this guy. So, whenever you're just a least bit critical of him, people always get mad at you. Like, people are always like, oh, well, he's doing more. Do you know the history of this president? Because I know the history of this. A lot of you guys speaking don't even actually know who this president is. Like, you guys just see videos on YouTube about him saying stuff and you guys don't know anything about his history. This guy, his family comes from royalty. His family comes from nobility. So to me, it's like, how can somebody who comes from royalty know about the struggles of average Ghanaians when he never had to go through that? Right? This is why I've noticed that in a lot of his policies, he doesn't think about average Ghanaians. He thinks about people who already have money because that's who he relates to. He doesn't really relate to he doesn't really relate to he doesn't really relate to other people. And this is another video. I'm going to play it real quick. But when he was called out on his mismanagement of the funds of the country, right? This is the answer that he had. Like, he was just like, oh, our economy's not that, you're ruining the economy, but you're here saying it's not that bad. But you're going to the IMF.
If I look at the Ghanaian economy at the moment, it's doing, let's just be honest, it's doing terribly.
Not terribly.
Well, when your inflation in your country, inflation in Ghana.
I don't know the economy in the world that's doing well. Tell me where you are here.
Inflation in Ghana.
The highest inflation.
Well, 15.7%. The Ghanaian cedi has fallen 20% on the dollar. The worst after Russia, which has a lot of sanctions against it.
It's began to firm up. It has begun to firm up, and we're seeing the cedi systematically appreciating against the dollar.
People still can't employ. I was just reading today. People in the hospitality industry that you're pushing so hard. Having to lay their staff off. We've got taxi driver unions threatening strikes because of spiraling fuel costs. It doesn't look like a place that I want to go and put my money.
Where will you put your money in the world today? Where will you put your money? In Britain, which is suffering the worst standard of living statistics for over 30 years? Is it? I think let's situate ourselves correctly. The world is going through very difficult times. Ghana is no exception. Nigeria is no exception. There's no country in the world that is escaping the ravages of both COVID-19 and also the impact of the...
He did raise a good point. The world is going through an economic downturn, or slum, as you would like to call it. But the excuse I'm not buying is, we knew about this since 2019, and now it's 2022. It's getting to 2023, and you're still talking about COVID as if that was yesterday. Like, there should have been... Anyway. Let me just continue the video.
But what you need to look at are, where are the elements being put on the ground that look beyond the COVID and beyond the Russian-Ukraine war. And I think you'll find that in Ghana, the recovery program that we have is one that is considered very credible. And it is what is going to give us the opportunity to come out of this period a stronger economy. And it is that future that we're looking at when we're attracting people.
Let's talk about one of the structures that you say you've put in place. The e-levy, a lot of people are calling it a stealth tax on people who already are impoverished. It's a 1.5% tax on people who do business on their mobile phone. So they use their mobile phones to send money or to...
The digital economy, the mobile economy.
Yes, but you're taxing people on money that has already been taxed.
Is the biggest economy in the is emerging as the biggest economy in the country, and for a long period has not had any taxation at all. So it is important now that they also come into the net. Our country has one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios of any country in West Africa and of an equivalent economy. The ECOWAS area, the general average today, tax to GDP average is about 18%. Ghana, we're at 13%. So it's as if you're talking about a country which is already overtaxed, if anything at all, is undertaxed.
Okay, let me take you up on that point. You know, on your low tax ratio to GDP. I'm just going to quote. Read this quote to you. It's from John Kwachi.
I just don't like how this president likes to deflect. I just don't like it. I really don't like it. If you speak to regular Ghanaians, average Ghanaians, this is not something that they like. This is not something that they care about. Not saying that taxes should not be raised, but taxes on mobile transactions such as e-transfers, money transfers, wouldn't there be another way to tax them instead of doing this? Like, this is just weird. And how do you just introduce a tax like this and just say, oh, well, the economy is not doing good, so just it's just, I don't know.
Who I'm sure you might know is the Director of Research at the Accra-based Institute for Economic Affairs. He says there are several loopholes in our tax system that, if they are plugged, will be able to raise our tax to GDP ratio to something like 20% from the 12% that you're talking about. Are you speaking to experts like him?
First of all, there's a recognition that
he says that there's no need for the e-levy.
Well, that's his point of view.
He's an expert.
But he's an expert. They're experts in government as well, and we think it's necessary, and that's the reason why
You think it's necessary to tax people who are already impoverished?
They're not already impoverished. We're talking about people. We're talking about taxing an industry and transactions where a lot of value is being created, and we want to also bring that value into government coffers. I think that is something that is there's nothing so, and the levy is not Ghana, it's the only country that has something like a digital tax. Many countries, they will not like it.
Because they're already taxing people who do business online, and then you are taxing as well.
People never like taxes. I don't know any group of people, especially businesses, when taxes are brought to them that like it.
When you hear all these stories, Mr. President, I mean, Ghana was one of the rising stars of, the economic recovery of Africa, so to speak. But when you hear about all these issues with the economy now, what exactly went wrong?
Nothing has gone wrong. We're part of those who have been very badly affected by what has gone on in the last 2 years. Until 2020, since I came into office, 2017, 2018, 2019, the beginning of 2020, we were growing our economy at about 7%, the GDP growth rate. One of the fastest growing economies in the world was the Ghanaian economy. Even in the crunch year of 2020, when the economies of the world dived, Ghana, we still managed a positive rate of growth because the fundamentals of our economy are strong. But it has been a difficult task for all the economies of the world. I think it is important that when you're making the kind of provocative statements that you're making, that you situate.
Well, I guess on one hand, I understand why a president would not take responsibility for their wrongdoing. I get why he's saying this, but it's just really disappointing when he doesn't admit that his administration is not the best. It's just really disappointing why you can't just admit that. No, I guess he doesn't want to admit it on BBC, but he hasn't been talking to the Ghanaian people either. So that's interesting.
Situate yourself. You speak as if you're living in the same time as you and I, where the world economy as a whole has gone through very difficult times. And there's several things that we're doing, which is in the line of being able to pick up our economy again. I have no doubt that next year, if you were to come and speak to me like you're doing today, we will have a different set of facts for us to look at.
This guy is seriously a whole joke, right? Like he's just annoying. He honestly is so annoying. People have been talking about cocoa for years, and guess what? He's ignoring that because he wants to build on tourism that I don't even understand who's crazy about traveling right now. Like, why are you so worried about that? You know what I mean? Why doesn't Ghana buy the cocoa directly from the producers? I don't really understand this question. I'm sorry. You mean why doesn't Ghana sell the cocoa directly from the producers? Oh, well, okay. If you were to ask me why Ghana doesn't sell cocoa directly to the producers, there's actually I don't know how to call it, but there's legislation and rules behind that from a long time ago. Believe it or not, from like the 60s, 50s that no one really seems to be worried about right now. So that's one of the reasons why. Do you know that if you're even growing cocoa in Ghana, there's limitations on who you could sell it to? Like, there's limitations on which Ghanaians or which Africans you could sell it to. They want most of it to go to Europe. Don't believe me? Okay, hold on. Maya talks about this. I believe his father or his family has a cocoa farm, and they're basically in a contract of who they could sell it to, basically. So there really isn't freedom behind that. Hold on. Okay, here. I don't know if it's gonna show like the
Still
whole
on
thing.
videos in Ghana. Let me take you to my father's cocoa farm. When we go to the farm, some sharpen their cutlasses ready to weed the bushes.
What about others? Some are already cutting the wood in order for the girl who's gonna cook to use it. And people wash their clothes as usual. Those that don't have girlfriends, they wash their clothes here in the farm. So it's really gonna be interesting today. And others do clean. This girl is the one who's gonna cook. She's cleaning the utensils that will be used for cooking today. And this is the foreman, the leader of the farm group. He takes care of everything. Together with my what do you call it, garden egg stew. So it's your boy, Mr. Ghana, baby, here in the farm. Or whenever you go to the farm, you sweat. after a hard day work. So all you have to do is to come here, take a clean shower. This is a well water, it's very clean. This is what we used to take shower. You can also drink this water. It's a very
Anyway, I guess he's not gonna say it in this video. I'll look for it though. But somebody was saying that the cocoa industry produces, let's say globally, about $70 billion, but Ghana and Ivory Coast get about $7 billion. So the rest of the money comes or goes to people who don't even cultivate the plant. I think that's very interesting.
is the raw material. So I just want to welcome you all to my father's 50 acres cocoa farm. Grab this one and enjoy.
Oh, and by the way, maybe some people don't know, but cocoa is seasonal. It's not a plant that is harvested all year. It's a plant that's harvested in some months. That's why in the past, you had some people who grew cocoa, right? And they would have money for like 6 months, but then after that, they needed another plant to plant because, again, it's not all year round, it's seasonal. Yeah.
You just have to know that planting cocoa is a cash crop in Ghana. Acres, that's huge, right? That's a huge land, bro. So you can imagine the kind of work that people do in here. I'm not here to show off because I don't remember the last time that I even came here, but my senior brother is taking care of this. So can you just join me? Let's give him a round of applause, man. I know he doesn't like the camera, but today, whether he like it or not, he will be on this video. My senior brother, he doesn't even want to. They said 50 acres. Huh? Okay. Captain bought 50 acres of land. Is it bought or rented? What?
God have mercy.
God have mercy. Today you have to talk.
Huh?
50 acres of land. Was it bought or rented?
No problem. 50 acres of land in Africa. I will never advise anybody to go in for 50 acres of land and buying 50 acres of land for farming. Yeah. So most of the times it's on a rental basis. You have some will give you up to like 50 years. Others will give you like 99 years, where they will accept a token like 100 Ghana cedi per acre. So with the 50 acres, you can talk about maybe 5,000 Ghana cedi.
Because now you're the one taking care of all this 50 acres of land of this cocoa farm, yeah? Which means you're super rich. Are you not rich? Yeah? The way you're laughing, what are the difficulties, you know?
You know, when it comes to difficulties in cocoa farming, every job comes with difficulties. And when you ask anybody, maybe the person will be tempted to say the number one problem when it comes to cocoa farming is money. But then I beg to differ, because money has been a problem when it comes to any aspect of life. But then my only problem is with the government, where the government will behave as if he is doing everything for the farmer. In actual fact, in Ghana here, a cocoa farmer does not even own the cocoa itself when it's harvested.
You don't own the cocoa.
Yeah, you don't own the cocoa farm when you actually harvest the cocoa. You go through the process, fermentation, drying, and all that. After the cocoa, you get the beans itself. It's not for the farmer. The farmer ought to sell it to
the government.
You, the farmer, cannot use the cocoa beans for anything.
What?
Whatever you do to the beans, it's illegal unless you sell it to the government.
But I wanted to establish my own factory, my chocolate factory, and I wanted to use your cocoa.
It's never possible unless
I cannot buy it direct from you.
No, you cannot buy it from you. You have to sell it to the government.
And I go and buy it from the government.
You buy it from the government.
But that's my father's cocoa farm, and I want to use the cocoa beans for my father's cocoa farm to process my own chocolate.
The government, the notion out there is the government is actually helping the farmers in terms of spraying the farms with the insecticide, giving the farmers fertilizers and all that. But then the previous government, I'm not trying to do politics here, but then the previous government was actually giving out the fertilizer for free. But then, in this case, with this current government, he is giving the fertilizers to the farmers at a price of 80 Ghana cedi per bag. And in actual fact, every acre of a cocoa farm takes about 3 acres. So you can do the mathematics here, 50 acres, and you divide 50 acres by 3. You can do the math. So you can imagine the number of fertilizers you're going to buy. And it's all the farmer's cost. And at the end of the day, the cocoa is not even for you. You can't use the cocoa yourself. You have to sell it to the government and you go in there.
All right, so he just spilled the cocoa tea. Okay, so some people were saying that there's no sound, but Kaisa said he can hear, so I don't know. Did you guys hear any of that then? But basically what he was saying is that the cocoa doesn't belong to you. Like you're farming it, you're planting it, you're harvesting it. You're actually putting your resources into making sure that it's a good harvest or a good plant, and at the end it's not yours. Like you can't use it for your own practices. You have to sell it to the government. Like there's a whole deal behind it. So it's like that's really interesting. And then he also okay, thanks. So I don't know what other people were saying, but it's cool. Yeah, so basically what Amaya was even saying in the clip, that you deciding to do whatever you want with the cocoa is actually illegal. Like there are certain things you can't do with it. I find that to be very, very interesting. Yeah, the government wants to be the monopoly in this, but they're not clearly selling it to the right people, or I don't know, they're just not making that much money from it. And I don't want to be judgmental, but looking at Wodemaya's brother, like they don't seem to aside from Wodemaya being the bread maker in the family, from what I know from other families, like the cocoa industry is not that profitable. Because as I mentioned, like it's the West that makes the money from the cocoa industry, not Ivory Coast or Ghana. So it's just very interesting. And now I was speaking to somebody in a chat section in one of these live streams, and they were like, why don't you guys just sell why don't you guys just sell chocolate to other African nations? And I'm like, you really think other African nations are gonna buy chocolate from Ghana? Like you're really they're not gonna do that. That's number one. They're not gonna do that. Like in a lot of African countries, eating chocolate is not really a culture. So I don't how would Ghana even profit, or Ivory Coast, because Ivory Coast actually makes more cocoa than Ghana. How would any of these nations make money from selling to other Africans who, as we've seen, whenever you try to sell a product, an African made product to other Africans, they'd rather buy those products from the West anyway. So it's like, I don't even think that would be profitable for Ghana. But yeah, I just want to see what you guys are saying. Welcome for being here. I'm gonna get into the topic in about a minute after I just finish reading what some of you guys are saying. So, what's up, happy companion? Quissy, I'm seriously asking you, what's your real name? What is your real name? I know that's not your name. I never met a South African named Quissy before. Or maybe he doesn't want to expose himself for obvious reasons. Hi, Blessed. Hi, Christopher Kane. Hi, Simon UG. So, hi, Nelson. What's going on? He's saying the same problem we have with Ramaphosa in South Africa, a career politician who pretends to be a socialist, but is really, a billionaire. Exactly. Like, hey, I'm not saying that presidents all have to be poor and know the struggle of real life, but let's be honest here. Some presidents cannot relate to their people if their grandparents came from royalty, their parents were already in the nobility. Like, they don't know what it's like to be an average person of their own country, and they're making laws on behalf of the whole nation that it's just like during that BBC video, did you guys see how he kind of just deflected like, oh, Ghana's economy is not doing that bad, but it's like, are you reading? Like, you're literally ruining, or you and your administration are literally ruining the economy, and you want to blame everyone else except yourself. It's really interesting. I don't even think how he knows what he's doing. Does Ghana have an IRS? No, it does not. Seems some African countries undertax their citizens. That's correct, but see, this is the thing, right? Let's say property taxes in Ghana are not expensive. So I'm not understanding why they're not taxing people who actually own property, but they just want to tax everybody who uses a cell phone. Like, why don't you tax people who actually have money? Anyway, whatever. Oh, okay. So, okay. I guess it does. Sorry, I didn't know it was called. Maybe it's called something else over there, but we don't really go with the term IRS. It's something completely different. Um, See, this is the thing, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand, and I'm not making excuses, but at the same time, there are a lot of things behind the contracts that Ghana or Ghanaian presidents have signed with these nations. So I understand that it's not that simple. It's very annoying, and until I actually hear about things changing, I'm not really going to talk about it too much, because someone yesterday was saying that Ivory Coast and Ghana are working together to make sure that they receive a better amount of profit from this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, it's one thing to say it, but I need to see it be done. I just want to see it be done. Like, Ghana and Ivory Coast standing up to the West. I don't want to hear about it. Like, I want to know the plans of how that's gonna happen. That's just me. Because we've been hearing about some of these things for years now. So it's like, I just want them to do it. That's all. Has a revenue collection service of some sorts. I'll say, okay, South Africa, it seems to be more advanced, but in Ghana, it's not as organized. I'll just be honest. Like, it's there, but no one takes the IRS in Ghana. Well, many people in Ghana don't take the IRS system or the tax system seriously. He sounds like an English chap. Well, he went to the UK for a long time, and Hey, you didn't hear it from me, but I think that he went to the secret society in England, but you didn't hear that from me. That's just what I think. I guess Nana Kufuor is as bad as any. No, he isn't. He's much worse. Trust me. Public administration is the key. We have government accountability office. Oh, so the government accountability office. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it, but the government accountability office. You should see the type of cars that they drive. These people are clearly happy. Yeah. Yes, Ghana can do that. I think in order for that to actually happen, it would have to team up with Ivory Coast, just for more clout. I don't know. We'll see. Because this is the sad part about the cocoa industry that I never talk about, but I know it's happening behind the scenes because I actually keep up with it a little bit, not as much as I should though. Um, there are other nations that are starting to grow cocoa. You'll be shocked. So I'm just like, if Ghana and Ivory Coast don't take care, they're not gonna have the lead in this industry. So there really isn't enough time for them to be dallying. They really need to get it together, else the cocoa industry is gonna be swiped from them. It's gonna be taken away from them. I don't want this to happen, but this is what I think is gonna happen um if people don't take this seriously enough, which they don't seem to be doing. What's up, Terrell? What's up, Assad? So basically, cocoa farmers are being ripped off, and I bet they will have to pay high taxes. Cultivating a seasonal, yeah, pretty much. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna get into the other topic, right? Let me just get into the other topic, right? So, yeah, and guys, when I mean other countries are thinking about cultivating cocoa, I'm not even speaking about African countries. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future, but not right now. Okay, it's actually really scary what these other countries are doing in order to like cultivate their own cocoa plants. It's very scary. But get into the topic, right? The topic was, oh, a Nigerian man got killed. Am I allowed to say that word? Whatever. Got assassinated. Not laughing because he got assassinated, but you know what I'm saying. So he got assassinated in Italy a couple of days ago, and this is causing a lot of outrage in the international sphere. But let's go ahead and just discuss what happened, and then we're gonna quickly watch the video. Do you guys say that this is racism? Because a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, this is a case of racism." I'm like, it could be racism, but I don't think racism was the only element of it, to be quite honest. Like, I don't think it was. And I wish I really knew what happened um, during the interaction to give a better, I guess, analysis, but we're only going by hearsay. We're only going by video. The guy who murdered him um, has been sentenced and is going to jail apparently, but we don't know how long he's going to be in jail for. I mean, does that cause justice for the lost life of this man? I'm not too sure. So anyways, 38-year-old Alika Oguchuku was attacked and in broad daylight in an Italian seaside town last Friday by as bystanders reportedly did not attempt to intervene. Now, a lot of people, right, have been going like, oh, these bystanders are so evil. Why would people not intervene? Like, no offense, but if I was witnessing somebody get beat up to death, I wouldn't intervene either, okay? I wouldn't. Okay, like call me whatever you want to call me, but I don't intervene into conflict. Like the only thing I'll probably do is maybe call the police, but I wouldn't get involved into the beef. Like my life is important too. So no, no. Now if I was a man, I don't know. Maybe I would, but I mean I wouldn't intervene either. So anyways, the killing of a Nigerian street vendor in Italy has sparked national outrage and renewed conversations about racism against migrants ahead of the country's snap elections in September. Now, we all know the issue that Italy is facing with a lot of economic migrants. So, if you just watch some of these clips from some of these some of these cities in various parts of Italy, they don't have a positive outlook of migrants. They just don't. They're tired of people swimming into their country. They just are. They're tired of resources going towards, you know, newly established immigrants. They're just tired of that. And I don't know what to say about that because I mean it's not happening to me. Now I do feel bad for the guy that got murdered, but at the same time, like if anyone here has lived in Italy, I haven't, but I have family members who have, and they left for certain reasons. They were like, unless you know the Italian language and you have a good job in Italy, it's really not that great. Like it's not the best place to be in. So that's why they left. So it just makes a lot of sense. Um, I don't think Italy's anyone's first choice. Well, I don't know. So, anyways, Alika Oguchukwu, 39, was reportedly struck with a crutch he used to walk, and then beaten to with bare hands. And to me, that's like so tragic. That is so tragic. Like if he was stabbed or shot, I would be like, okay, fine. He was beaten to death. Oh my god. That is horrible. That's actually scary because people don't even do that now. Well, from where I live, people don't do that. If they have an issue with you, they'll either stab you or shoot you. Like I didn't even know people could still do that. Anyways, by the assailant who also stole his phone while he was on the ground, police said. Okay. Video footage of the attack, which took place about 2 p.m. last Friday in the center of the eastern Italian beach town of Citanova, or whatever, Citanova, Marche, was captured by an onlooker, but no one was seen attempting to intervene. A police statement written, I find it, well, no one did call the police, so obviously the police wouldn't show up. So makes sense, right? A police statement released on July 31st says Oguchukwu was found dead in the scene by paramedics. A 32-year-old Italian citizen, Filippo Ferlazzo, has been arrested for wow, he's actually been arrested. That's interesting. He's been arrested for murder and robbery, police said. One of the assistant lawyers told CNN on Monday that Ferlazzo has psychiatric issues. Interesting, right? I love the justification. Like the guy has psychiatric issues, so it is what it is. He possibly didn't mean to kill him. I don't know. but let me acknowledge. Yeah, we don't know the whole story yet. Absolutely. And I'm gonna intervene. I'm gonna like give my thoughts and opinions about this because I don't believe everything the media is just saying. I don't believe that the media just wants to put everything on racism. Like, I don't believe that. Was there an altercation? Like, what actually happened for somebody to beat you up? Like, what did you do? Can I ask that? People are gonna get mad at me and be like, "Oh, I hate Africans." I don't hate Africans, but I'm seriously wondering, how does somebody randomly beat you up in the street? Like, I don't. Mm, mm-mm. And thanks MSL to Guy for the 5 again. Unless you are a tourist in Italy, it's not friendly to blacks. It isn't. Oh my goodness. I haven't lived there. I haven't been there, but I've heard cases from the 90s of Africans struggling in Italy. And it's like, wow. Well, I guess struggling in a different country is better than struggling in your own. Like, I don't know. So, police said one of the assailants' lawyers, psychiatric, I already read that. Police officer Matteo Lucini said that the killing was not racially motivated. I don't believe it was. Now, could I be a coon or whatever by saying that it wasn't? Anyways, his statement said that the incident was likely due to petty reasons, such as what? I really wish the victim was still alive to give his point of this story, because this is just so interesting. Like, what happened? His statement. Okay. This attack was also recorded on several surveillance cameras, and images captured by witnesses will be viewed to clarify the dynamics of. Thank you. And, I'm going to try to search to see if I can find any updates on this case, because this just doesn't make any sense to me. Hundreds of Italians and Nigerians protested in a Città Nova Marche over the weekend, according to The Guardian. Some people have even compared the killing to that of George. That's a reach. Come on. Don't. That's a reach. To say that this was the same as George Floyd. The Nigerian embassy in Rome condemned the killing of Ogochukwu, saying the incident occurred on a busy street and in front of shocked onlookers, some of whom made videos of the attack with little to no attempt to break. Who in 2022 or 2023 will stop a physical altercation? Like, is anyone going to be honest here? If I saw somebody getting beat up, I would probably tell the person to stop, but I wouldn't get in the middle and actually try. I'm sorry. Like, listen, I don't like trouble. I wouldn't stop it either. I wouldn't just stand there and watch it, obviously, but I wouldn't get as involved as maybe some people expect me to. The embassy says it's working with the Italian authorities to provide support to Ogochukwu's family and to ensure they receive justice. So, one thing I could say is the Italian government said that they're going to pay. Wow. Okay. So the Italian government said that they're going to pay the funeral costs associated with this. So that's really nice of them, I guess. And yeah, that's basically it. There were some protests in Italy by many Black people, including many Nigerians, about the mistreatment of Ogochukwu. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are protesting when he's already gone. Yeah, okay. I'm disappointed other Africans did not help the brother. Okay, let me say it like this. Okay, can I just ask people here, just be honest here, okay? Like, tell me the truth, don't lie. if you saw this happening, would you intervene? Like, would you do something about it? And thank you for the wow, it's $20. Thank you for the $20, Crenshaw Grinder. Would you intervene? Like, would you do something? Like, what would you do in this situation if you saw a man being beat up like this? Like, I don't know what I would do. I'm being honest here. Like I said, I'll call the police. I would tell the assailant to stop, but I wouldn't actually physically pull them apart. I'm just being honest about that. I'm just being 100% honest. Like, that's what I would do if I saw something like that. Because I'll show you the video in a minute, but he didn't look that skinny. Like the Nigerian man, he didn't look that slim to me. So I just don't understand how. Well, he was using crutches, so he couldn't walk properly. Makes sense, but I'm just like, something is not right here. Yikes. Okay. So I'll help if it's a woman. Oh, dang. What are they protesting? I don't know, the killing of a Nigerian. I have no idea. Okay. Maybe for better conditions for migrants. I'm assuming that's what they're protesting, but this guy wasn't a migrant. This guy was in in Italy for 9 years. So he had an actual job. Like, he wasn't a fresh migrant. So I'm not really sure if he qualifies for that because yeah, he was there for 9 years. His job was a street vendor. So not and I'm not even trying to be mean here, but where are street vendors really respected? Like, nowhere. They're not they're not really seen as that important to society. Anyways, so Ogochukwu's wife, Charity Onuchi, told journalists that she wanted justice for her husband. I want to look the man in the eye and ask him why he killed. More power to her. Like, I don't know how she's surviving. This is sad. Um, Honestly, when I first heard about this case, I did cry because this is just so sad. Like, if he got shot or if he got stabbed, I would kind of understand, but being beaten to death by bare hands, I can't even imagine what that's like. I literally can't. So this is really sad. Um There were so many people around. Why didn't anyone help him? I want justice now, she said. Francesco Mantella, the lawyer representing Ugochukwu's wife, told CNN that Ugochukwu lived in Italy for about 9 years and worked as a street vendor, selling small items such as lighters and tissue paper. He was run over by a car while riding his bicycle last year, which left him disabled. Ogochukwu used a crutch to help him walk. So that same crutch was the crutch that was used during the assassination or the murder, whatever you want to call it. The mayor of Citinova Marche announced that the municipality would pay for the expenses of Ugochukwu's funeral. A fundraiser was started to help his wife and their 8-year-old son. The killing of Ugochukwu has sparked outrage in Italy, where right-wing factions have been accused of using xenophobic tactics in the country's election campaign. Don Vinicio, a local priest, told the Italian newspaper La Pubblica, "We live in a distrustful region where Black people are accepted only if they do the humblest of jobs. we are dealing here with a culture that despises anyone who is not white and a local. Francesco Anquaroli, president of the Brothers of Italy, a right-wing political party that currently governs Cittadinova Marche region, where Gichuku was killed, reportedly condemned the killing, saying, along with expressing deep condolences to Atika's family, it is also necessary to reiterate the firm condemnation of an act of insane and precedented violence, which has no justification and which damages the entire Marche region. So I don't know, they're paying for their funeral. They have set up a fundraiser to help his wife. The guy is put in jail. Who knows how long he'll serve in jail, though? That's one thing I'm thinking about. And this is honestly just really sad, man. This is just so sad. But this is not the only instance we know of migrants getting assassinated with little to no comfort or little to no help. So I'm gonna try to see if I can play the video. Hopefully I don't have any problems with YouTube.
All I want is justice for my husband. I want justice, just that.
All I can say is go to Italy at your own risk. I heard that there's certain countries in Europe that there's no point in you going. I know money is important. I know, you know, helping yourself is important, but I heard certain countries in Europe are especially a no-go for immigrants. Yeah, and RIP for the deceased. Like, this is not, I'm not justifying his death. If anyone thinks I am, I'm really not. It's actually really sad. You have to assess the situation first before you jump in. Okay, so I know some people don't like Nigerians, so they really don't care, but that and I'm not. That's it. Just happens to be Nigerian. I'm gonna show another one of another uh immigrant who gets murdered essentially, and I want to ask some of you guys if you would intervene. Yes, thank you, Happy Companion. Like as you watch, like. I'm not gonna be here forever today, I promise. This was just, I don't even know. Like, this was just a video of this. Oh my goodness. So, Bamili K, of course, I'm saddened as well. However, we as Africans have to respect ourselves. How do you go to Italy to just become a hawker on the streets? Come on. Why are you saying that? So, if he was a lawyer, right? If he was a lawyer, a doctor, um, do you think the same situation would happen to him? Now, I don't understand why he's a street hawker. I don't really get that either, but or why he was a street hawker. I don't really understand that because who wants to leave their country to sell items on the street? And he wasn't old either. He was like 39. So why didn't he go to school? I don't know. Like, I just have so many questions. I just have so many questions. Yeah, people don't really realize that the majority of the world doesn't really care about them. Just being honest here. Like, people think that, oh, well, America would be one of the better choices, but they don't respect you in America either. So I'm not sure why. You know what's so funny? There are some Africans I know personally. Okay. I would show you their pictures, but I think that's going a little bit too far. But there's some Africans I know personally that are in the American military. And I'm just like, what? How are you in the American military? Like, after knowing all the countries they destabilized, what makes you think that they're not going to have a plan in the future to destabilize yours? Like, I don't get it. Africans who join the military, I'm sorry, you guys are really interesting people. Very interesting people. I don't understand you guys. I'm just saying. And now some people are like, oh, well, the military has good benefits. They help you with your house. I'm like, yeah, okay. So that's how much it costs for you to get sold. Got it. All right. Oh yeah. So there was another instance of this actually. Let me see if I could play. Oh no, this is just the protest. This is not the video, but whatever. I'll play the video. I'll try to find it.
Dos companheiros que são voluntários. Advogadas e advogados estão com a faixa azul. Voluntária aqui do meu lado esquerdo, tá? Justiça! 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 Justiça!
The protest organized by the family was much larger than expected. Thousands throughout Brazil calling for justice for Moise Kabangambe, a Congolese migrant whose face is now everywhere. He's become a symbol for the Black Lives Matter movement. Moise was brutally beaten to death in this beach kiosk where he used to work. It's in the same neighborhood where President Jair Bolsonaro owns a house.
This neighborhood is where Brazil's elite lives. He was treated like an animal, like a thing, just because he was claiming 2 days of overdue wages, some $20. We're all here because we want Black people to be treated like humans. Moise could have been my son, my brother, my cousin.
I find this to be very interesting because of all countries, some people would say Brazil, but Brazil doesn't like Black people. They don't like the Black people that live in their own country. They never had. Aren't they the ones who came up with Mejor la Raza, or was that Dominican Republic? Anyway, Blackness in Brazil hasn't really been respected like that. So I'm just wondering who thinks about going to Brazil. Like,
CCTV released by the police show Moise arguing with a man. He was taken down by others, beaten with a club and a baseball bat, and tied to a pole. Black people represent more than half of Brazil's population, the largest number outside of Africa.
What has changed since the times of slavery? Moise was tied and beaten to death in public, as if he were a thing.
Moise's family fled the war in Congo in 2014. His mother asked for justice and peace.
We ran away from violence in the Civil War to find more violence.
Suzette Gomes, a teacher and activist, says Moise's tragic death is now uniting Brazilians against discrimination.
We have to unite and fight for minorities, indigenous people, Black people, gay people.
The murder happened during an electoral year, with President Bolsonaro aiming for a second term. But these protesters say that the president's silence shows how little he has done to protect minorities. Monica Yanakiev, Al Jazeera.
Interesting. I think the president would care about minorities if they were like Russians or Europeans or like Ukrainians or whatever. Italians, Canadians, Americans. Like he would definitely care if it was those people, but since it's people from Congo, like who cares, you know? Like that's what his outlook and his opinion are. So I'm not going to go ahead and read this whole article because it's going to take too long, but I'm just going to skim through it. So it was a 24-year-old Congolese refugee who was beaten to death. So in this particular video, unlike the previous one, there were more than one assailants. Over the course of 13 minutes, holding him down and beating him with a rod, and continued to do so even after he loses consciousness. Wow, that's wild. Now, in this case, unlike the previous case, I actually do feel much worse because in this case, it was a disagreement over wages. He worked in that area or that kiosk or that store, whatever. He was an employee there, and I guess he came back because he wanted, he noticed that he wasn't being paid properly. So I don't understand how him going there and asking for, his wages back is a problem. I really don't get how that constitutes him being beaten to death. I don't get it. The young man's death also mobilized anti-racism movements, with many denouncing an all too common scenario of killing of a Black man. Yeah, I heard that Brazil has many issues with police brutality. And again, I just find that to be so interesting because, I mean, a lot of Brazilians have African descent. So I just found that to be very, very interesting. He was treated like an animal, like a thing, just because he was claiming 2 days of overdue wages, some $20. We're all here because we want Black people to be treated like humans. So there were protests. Okay, so Congolese refugees got accepted into Brazil. Okay, that makes sense because I was like, who chooses to go to Brazil? But then if you are a refugee, then you kind of just go wherever you need to go. In recent years, Brazil has also seen an increase of arrivals of Congolese and Cameroonian refugees seeking to make the overland trek to the border with the United States. Makes sense. Okay. This is really, really sad. I don't obviously think any of the assailants who murdered this man got in trouble. And yeah, the Brazilian president has not made a statement. A lot of the groups who've made statements of this were like the Black Lives Matter groups. And that's about it. This happened a while ago. When did this happen? Oh, 6 February 2022. So I don't really know what happened afterwards, but I'm assuming really nothing happened. That's just what I'm assuming because, yeah. So Brazil is dusty. Africans shouldn't go there. Black people get killed like they're target practice dummies. These are some brutal deaths. Jeez, yeah, they are. We only unite when there is a problem at stake. Absolutely. Okay, so Nelson saying Panther Bamileke, granted, yes, we don't all have the same opportunities, but why put yourself in that kind of situation where you actively go to a place where your life means nothing? I don't know. I have, again, I can't, I don't know. I guess the situations that they were trying to get away from in their home countries were that bad. That they felt the need to do that? I have no clue. Anyways, I guess I'm about to end this in about 10 minutes. I don't really have anything else to say. But what are you guys' thoughts and opinions on both of these instances of these murders and these assassinations? Now, the case in Italy, I guess they're doing something about it, but they haven't changed legislation to actually stop these type of things from happening. So I know I sound really grim, but I have a feeling this is gonna happen again. In the case of Brazil, it seems like they didn't care at all because again, they don't even care about their own black people who live there, who are indigenous to Brazil, or let's say the descendants of the slaves in Brazil. They don't care about those people clearly. Um, so I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Oh, okay. So the Congolese guy who was murdered being black was most likely not the central factor. Being an asylum seeker might have more to do with it. Okay, so you're saying that the Brazilians basically took out their anger. Yeah, I'm starting to notice a theme that people really don't care about immigrants in their country. Like the UN and all these Western spaces will make you believe that countries care about immigrants. Countries don't care about immigrants. Like they don't. The only reason why they ask for immigrants to go to their countries is because their population is aging and they need to have people to work, create taxes so that their economies can still be functioning. Why would anyone really care about an immigrant over their own? Like I don't see why they would do that. Now, people always get mad at me when I say that. I'm like, in every single country in the world, I'll find it really, 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 really hard pressed to actually see a nation that cares about immigrants as equally as they do care about their own people. They don't. Like I'm sorry. They they don't. Like this, can we be honest here? Like they don't. Like people want to go to the west. Well, some people want to emigrate to the west and the first thing they complain about is racism. Like didn't you know that the country would have certain elements of racism before you took the plane to go to that country and you still went? Now you're complaining about racism? That's interesting. I always found that to be interesting when there are some Africans that are acting brand new now and they're in all of these countries complaining about racism. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you didn't care about that before emigrating, so why are you making noise about this now? Like, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that racism isn't a problem before people come at me and attack me, but I'm saying that most Africans travel to countries knowing that there can be elements of racism. So when they want to act brand new all of a sudden and go and protest in all these countries, I'm just like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, they do practice mejor la raza in Brazil. Okay, interesting. It's really sad what happened to this man, but there is rising nationalism in that region, contributing to the influx of migrants and criminalities such as the Nigerian mafia in Italy. Hi Punsart, hi Asiatic Lion, and hey Liliana, how you doing? So Europe as a whole is risky for Africans. It's fine to visit. It depends on the country, right? Like I say UK is a good choice. Germany seems to be a good choice. Yeah, the countries that are performing well in the Europe are not bad choices, but Italy, Greece, and some of these random countries that people go to, I'm just like, why risk it, you know? Um yeah, like okay, I'm not going to say that the UK treated the Windrush generation that well either, but I mean, descendants of the UK get a better quality of life than people in Italy, for instance, or people in Romania, Bolivia, whatever. Russia, Ukraine, even. Like, let's be honest here. So, I mean, I guess I'm speaking from a place of maybe a bit of arrogance and privilege, but no, that's definitely true. There's some European countries that you need to stay away from as an African. See, as a, let's say, Black American, it wouldn't really apply to you that much. But as an African, yeah, there's definitely many European countries you need to stay away from. Like, it's just what it is. It's sad, but what can I say? Like, what can I say? Um, So is risky for Africans. It's fine to visit, but if one gets to live there, they need to be mentally and emotionally prepared for the negative possibilities. Absolutely. From some people I know who left Italy, uh, they were talking about how, in Italy, one of the best jobs you could get is like the menial work. Is like working at the restaurant, working as a cook, working working as a cleaner. But for you to actually move up and be, let's say, a member of parliament, for you to be respected in Italian society is not really it's not really possible. Well, from what they said. Okay, I don't know. I'm just gonna take their opinions as fact because haven't dealt with the Italian context, but from what I see, just from what I see of migrants continually going to that country and trying to cross their border illegally, yeah, if I was an Italian, especially in the cities that are close to the coast, that would get me upset as well. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. I mean, I wouldn't want to obviously murder anybody, but it would make me think, like, what is my government doing to protect me from strange people who I literally have no idea what they're doing here? And yeah, in Italy is not even a top performing European country, so people got to stop acting like it's such an achievement to go there. It really isn't. It's not. Oh my gosh, Nelson, stop. Nigerians are cool. But yeah, anyway, I've noticed many countries complaining about that. Well, let me just say that their population really doesn't help them, because I don't think it's only Nigerians that commit. I know it's not only Nigerians that commit crimes and do certain things like that, but it's the fact that there's so many of them, and it creates a system where these type of projects, or these type of, yeah, let me just say projects or organizations can be so syndicated. I definitely think that is the problem here. Please don't go to East Germany. What's wrong with East? Is it race? What's wrong with East Germany? I'm curious now. Yeah, they do. There's a whole see, I know people who have gone to like Greece and gone to some of these other countries just to get to the UK. And it's like, wow, you're really gonna struggle in all of these countries just to hopefully get. A lot of people want to be in the UK, so I'm not even mad about that. Ooh, okay. Please don't go to East Germany. This is where Nazis are, especially Niedersachsen. No go zone. Okay, thanks for letting me know, because I that's interesting. I didn't know about that. A Black American was deleted in Greece for trying to talk to a girl. Wow. Wow. I thought they were even better off. That's interesting. I had no idea. Anyways, guys, what time is it? 1:38. I guess I'm done with this stream. I really don't have anything else to say, to be honest. Um what I'll say though is hmm see, this is hard for me to talk about because well, my parents did immigrate, or they migrated, and I understand, like, my parents, their migration story was not good at all. Like, my dad did go to Italy before my dad wanted to go to the UK, but things were just really hard at the time, and maybe they're probably even more difficult now. But the whole plan was to get to the UK. Things did not work out. So he went to other countries, and the stories that he was telling me about, it's like, nah, like, no. Can you imagine going to Italy and like nobody cares about you? So you're literally like sleeping outside. And my mom told me about some of the jobs that they did in Italy. Like, I know people, especially Nakamizi, makes fun of people for picking strawberries, but that's literally what they did. Like, they picked strawberries in Italy. You're not gonna get any rights as a strawberry picker or a migrant worker in someone else's country. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So let me see if I could find the video. Hold on. A lot of people are doing this. I'm even shocked that this is still happening. And it's like if you've never picked plants, in your own country, then you travel to go to a different country and you do that over there. That's just weird. Like, that's really sad. So let me quickly play this clip and then talk a little bit, and then I will actually be ending the stream. have something to do.
Migrants, mainly from Africa, have landed in Italy so far this year, 3 times the number from the same period in 2020. The struggle for migrants does not end when they reach European shores. Our senior producer, Adam Rainey, reports from southern Italy on how, amid the pandemic, migrant farm workers are fighting for visibility and better working conditions.
After working 13 years in Italy's fields, this is what Nigerian farm worker Rita Godwin has to show for it. A one-room shack in a rural slum in southern Italy. There's no running water, electricity, or trash removal. And after fetching water, she treats it by boiling it with herbs.
We don't do this. We fall sick every blessed day. So we boil it, we drink it, so that we don't fall sick.
In 2008, Rita made the risky sea crossing to Italy. She left 2 children behind and sends money when she can. Working in the fields leaves her little for anything else.
Do you feel stuck here? Yes, because, in my country, I have never lived in this kind of environment.
Farm worker Abdullah Ismail came from Ghana thinking life would be better in Italy, the country of his dreams of soccer, food, and fashion.
I always feel shame when anybody calls me outside. I don't like video call because the place I'm living is very shame for me to somebody to see where I'm living.
There are more than 80 settlements like this across Italy. Some 2,000 people live in this camp alone, and the people we spoke to here say they feel stuck because they don't have access to legal work documents, which keeps them from getting better paying jobs and makes it very hard for them to afford a place of their own. Another migrant, Sadio from Senegal, takes us on a tour of the shanty town, or ghetto as they call it.
Life here is inhumane. This is not a humane life. Look around. The truth is, many people here live in extremely difficult conditions.
Sadio told us most migrant farm workers only make around 35 euros a day. And that's before paying a mafia middleman 5 to 10 euros to secure work in the fields. The fight for dignified, legal work free from mafia control came to the fore in the pandemic. Last spring, during Italy's first strict lockdown, farm workers were deemed essential workers.
This is honestly so sad. And yeah, Mr. Uganda, you're correct. The UK is the number one. Let me tell you, the UK is the number one choice to go to, okay? At least we know that we're not going to have to pick strawberries or tomatoes in the UK. Liliana's saying, I wonder what's contributing to that, but I doubt it's just high population because India has a large population and yet they're considered the model ideal immigrants. This is very, that's actually a very interesting point. So why is it that a small percentage of Nigerians are not only ruining it for Nigerians, right? They're ruining it for all West Africans. Seriously, they are. They're ruining it for all West Africans. If you haven't noticed, they are. Some West Africans travel to other countries and they think that it's a Nigerian using the West. It's so bad because, we have ECOWAS passport. So there's some people that think you're Nigerian, and the way that they'll treat you if they think that you're the way that they'll treat you, okay? You speak English, Nigerians speak English. Are you sure you're not Nigerian using a different passport? It's horrible, okay? Now, some Nigerians want to deflect and act like this isn't. It does happen, okay? It happens more often than not. But anyway, the topic's not about Nigerians, so I'll just be quiet, but yeah.
But without work papers, they had no documents to show police patrols enforcing the lockdown. So they weren't allowed to leave the shanty towns to go out to work in the fields, precisely at a time when Italy needed more of them. A charismatic leader, Abubakar Sumaoro, has led protests up and down Italy throughout the pandemic. A former farm worker from Ivory Coast, he called attention to the self-proclaimed invisibles. Migrants toiling in the fields, out of sight, and out of mind to most Italians. Race, he says, is clearly a factor in their treatment.
The workers are often paid a low wage based on the color of their skin or because the countries they came from. It's the immigration laws that create this exploitative situation because work contracts are tied to resident permits. If you refuse what they're offering, you won't get a contract. So workers are squeezed and have to accept the conditions.
Savvy on social media, Sumaoro led strikes and called for systemic change. He communicates daily with hundreds of thousands of followers.
There are no rights. There's no dignity. There are just workers to be exploited, to be enslaved.
Migrants had the backing of Pope Francis, and Sumaoro managed to meet then Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. Last May, fearing food and labor shortages, Italy passed a law intended to legalize more than 200,000 undocumented migrants, offering them contracts or temporary work permits.
I wanted to ask some of you guys this. It is sad, but I'm not trying to justify it, right? But I'm trying to just explain something that what rights do documented migrants have in any country? They don't. Let's just be honest here. Even in the US, you'll be shocked that undocumented migrants are not really cared about. So, I mean, I get them protesting because they're still human beings. They still deserve certain rights and liberties, but I feel like it's a losing battle, to be honest.
But the law was seen by many as a failure. More than 85% of the people it benefited were domestic workers, not farm workers. Tired of waiting for true reform, some migrants are now taking a different route. Complete with a jingle, one group, Ghetto Out, launched their own line of canned tomatoes. A product that is at the root of Italy's pasta-based cuisine. It's the first such Italian product made by migrants themselves. The name Raccolto is a play on the words harvest and welcome. The label also plays on the product's fair trade appeal. A black hand holds the most traditional of Italian foods, a tomato, above the phrase land of freedom, a nod to the migrants feeling liberated after years of working in what many of them call slave-like conditions. Papa Latir Faye, one of Ghetto Out's founders, is from Senegal.
You have to understand the story behind this product, because our main goal was not just a can of tomatoes, but to show that immigrants have arrived on the scene and should be seen in a different light.
Faye says this is just the first of many migrant-led projects he hopes to launch.
So we took the reins ourselves. We realized that only we could solve our problems, working together.
With a vision in hand, Ghetto Out needed a partner. They found it in Co-op, a chain of cooperative supermarkets that agreed to sell the product across Italy.
We would like it to become the model of tomorrow.
Carmelo Rollo is a regional, has also built its own camp, providing housing and services for 500 migrants, many of whom used to live in the slums. They also help migrants secure residency permits. Ghetto Out has had success working in the system, receiving land use grants and funding from the regional government and the European Union. It's still a small niche, though, and it comes with a price. Their products might appeal to consumers' ethics, but not their pocketbooks. Raccolto is more than twice as expensive as many other canned tomatoes in the supermarket, a hard sell in a deep recession. Italian food and agriculture is a $500 billion business that brings Italy's produce to the world's most refined tables. It's also one of small profit margins, with big supermarket chains squeezing costs to maximize profit. The people who come up short are those at the bottom.
There is something changing. Migrants are speaking out.
Fabio Ciconte is the director of Terra, a nonprofit focused on agribusiness and environmental issues. Ciconte sees some positive signs.
If we combine the fight of the migrants with the fight for a ethical supply chain, I think we can win the fight for justice.
Leaders like Abu Bakr Samoro acknowledge they have a long way to go, but say they have forced Italy to finally confront racism and injustice in the fields.
If today Italy is talking about the conditions of the farm workers, it's because we have forced it on the country's agenda. No one has given us anything.
A year into the pandemic, migrants are paving the way. Yet, as harvest season approaches, Rita's slum keeps growing, making space for migrants with few other places to go. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Adam Rainey in Puglia, Italy.
I mean, all these reforms or all these organizations that people keep talking about, I can't help to think that this is going to take years, and that there's still going to continue to be a lot of suffering towards the migrants. I can't tell somebody to boycott Italy, but from what I've seen, try your best to boycott Italy. Okay. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Wodamaya has been, yeah, Wodamaya has been, people have mistaken him as Nigerian so many times, and it's caused issues with him traveling. Tayo Ena, when he went to Ethiopia, they told him to defecate, just so that they knew that he wasn't bringing any drugs into the country. So it is what it is. Like, there's, it's not funny, but I mean that's really sad. Um, the countries these people come from are peaceful, so why don't they stay there? They live worse than what they lived in their own country. That's a really good question. I have no idea. I guess there's a class of people that put economic stability over everything. Now, again, not against traveling at all. Like, I'm not against it. I can't be against it, but it's like some of these countries that these people are going to, I'm just like, do you know the history of that country? Like, do you know the economic factors? From what I've noticed is that certain countries that are doing better economically don't seem to have these many like racial issues as much as these countries where the people are not living a good quality of life, generally speaking. Mr. Uganda, Black Falcon, was making a video, and the panel basically talked about the fact that some of them experienced racism in low income areas, but in higher income areas, it wasn't really something that they were that familiar with because the people were better off. They had other things to think about. But people who live in lower income areas or just countries that are not performing that well, there is a chance that you're gonna experience more physical face-to-face racism, and that is definitely a fact. This is not economic at all. It is slavery. That's nasty. I would have flown over Egypt instead if they're moving like that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the content was worth it. I guess it was, but yeah, he was. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. And when he said this, I'm like, how can a grown man really be saying this on camera that you're trying to go to Ethiopia? That even made me think, do I even want to visit Ethiopia after this? Probably not. Well, I'll probably not use my Ghanaian passport. I'll probably use my Canadian passport, but that's crazy, man. That is just crazy how Okay, this is the video right here.
When I was a child, I always dreamt about traveling the world, visiting new places, experiencing new cultures, and telling us stories about them.
For me, there was no better way to live life than by doing that. So I spent the last 3 years of my life learning how to make videos when you enter the airport of the country. It's majorly formed by how they treat you, how the place looks, how it smells, how it feels, and that's what usually sticks in your mind before you enter the main country. Ethiopia is a great country. Sadly, the airport police are really my trip to Ethiopia was on the 9th of April, and I was really looking forward to this trip. You guys know I love traveling to multiple places all across Africa and generally sharing my experiences and showing how beautiful the place is. I've flown through it twice on my way to South Africa and also on my way to Tanzania. But during both times, I only spent one night because we usually have a stopover flight when you're flying through it. So I eventually decided that on my next trip, I was going to stop by Ethiopia and experience it instead of just flying over. So I boarded my next flight from Tanzania back to Ethiopia and had a stopover. It was a long flight, like a 4-hour flight. I don't like flying on planes. It might sound weird as somebody who travels a lot. After staying for 1 hour on the line, because it was a very long line, I got to the escalator. At the bottom of the escalator were 2 airport police officials, and this is where it really got interesting. So I noticed one of them was looking at me weirdly as I was coming down the escalator. I was dressed normally. I was just wearing a normal sweater, a jeans, and normal shoes, just like the way I dressed on my videos. Nothing too flamboyant. And then the guy just called me, and then he pulled me aside and he was like, "Where are you coming from?" And I was like, "Tanzania." And then he said, "Where are you from?" And I showed him my passport, and then I showed it to him. He said, "Nigeria." He said, "Okay." Then he just called me and said, "Okay, I had to come to a room. I had to come to a room for extra checks." And I was like, "Okay, why am I the only one you're pulling aside? All the other people that are passing, the white people, the people from other countries, nobody said anything about them. Why is it me?" But I just didn't say anything because, you know, you have to respect police, as they always say. So they called me, and then they called me to one other inner room, and they said they wanted to search me. But from the guy's demeanor and his character, it was already like they had already given him information that this guy is one terrorist or some bad guy that is coming down, because he was so sure of himself. And he told me to come in, open my bag. I told him I'm a YouTuber. I came here to film your country and also to make videos about it, because I travel around Africa promoting countries, showcasing places, and just sharing my general experience about them. And then he told me, open my bag, zipped everything, opened it up, brought out my camera. He told me to even open the lens of this camera. I had to open the lens, remove the lens from the camera, and I was like, what's happening? After checking everything, like as he was even checking, I was even afraid already, like, what is happening? Like, you know, sometimes when you didn't even do anything wrong, but when the police stops you, you are just like suddenly like, okay, what is happening? Because from there, anything can happen. There was nothing in my bag. He checked all through, opened all the compartments of the back, and then after that, I felt that was the end of everything. I felt, okay, and now you've checked, you didn't say anything, I'm free to go. Then the next thing he said was where I got the shocker. I was like, okay, we need to check your stomach for drugs. I was like, drugs? And I'm like, how do you just pick somebody out and say you just want to check for drugs out of the blue? Like, how? What did I do? And I was like, okay, you want to check for drugs? No problem. No wahala. And I was like, okay. I was thinking he was going to take me to like a machine or something. No, it was like, I need to follow him somewhere in the airport. And I was like, how? And then he was wearing gloves. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck is happening? And then we walked out from the searching room and we went all the way through the customs. And then it took me to one very dirty ass toilet like that in the airport. And then it was like, I should off my trouser. I had to take a shit in front of him. If not, I would not be allowed to go. And then they will hold me to tomorrow, where they will take me to a hospital where they have to do an x-ray on me to confirm if there are drugs in my stomach. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? I'd been on an actual 4-hour flight coming all the way down to this country, and I spent like 1 hour at the passport immigration place. You can imagine you spending 5 hours in transit, and then all you want to do is just get to your hotel and just probably sleep, and then you're having to go through all of this. I stayed at the airport for I think over 3-4 hours extra after landing, doing all this bullshit with this guy. And I kept explaining to him, I have a YouTube channel. This is what I do. I travel around Africa. I make videos. He did not even want to listen. He said I should not even touch my phone. I think in his head, he was like, oh, I'm communicating with somebody. I'm like, how do you just build a perception on somebody without even knowing the person, just because the person is from Nigeria. And then eventually, like, I just had to pull off my trousers in front of him and try to force myself to take a shit in the dirty ass toilet. And after that, that was now when he now let me go. No apology, nothing. Guys, this was one of my most humiliating travel experiences. Usually when I travel to a country,
That is actually hilarious. Oh my gosh. So for content, it was worth it, I guess, right? Like, bro, I would never. Are you kidding me? I would never do something like that. That's too humiliating. Like, I get it. You know, some people have issues with Nigerians. There's no way I would do that in a toilet just to prove that I don't have drugs. Like, there's no way I would do. Is that even? Well, I guess in the nation of Ethiopia that is legal because that's in their airport borders. But yeah, no, that's crazy. That is crazy. Like, Abby, your people need to address this because this is not right. I'm sorry. But anyways, guys, it's 2:00 now, so I'm about to dip. Let me play a closing video. What video should I play? Okay, I'll play. I guess I'll play Africa Home Again. Thanks, guys, for being here. Not gonna lie, it's pretty well known that if you want to coke in Addis, the best suppliers are But anyways, guys, that's it. Like, that's all I have for today. I need to go do something. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And yeah, hopefully you guys can comment in the comment section about if you're watching the playback. I would like to know your thoughts and opinions. And yeah.
Yeah, we got the food and the rhythm and the sun and the culture. Just remember where you're from. Just remember where you're from. We got the food and the rhythm and the sun and the culture. Just remember where you're from. Just remember where you're from. Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, baby. Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, baby. Africa home again. Africa, Africa, Africa home again, baby. Africa home again. Africa, Africa, Africa home again, baby. See, I went natural. I let my naps grow. I got an afro, became a black pro. They tried to say that my black was a natural. Hell no. We all came from a black hole. The motherland that feared needs to come home. The fact is that we all made a black gold. Anybody saying differently does not know. Black soul, black goals that support black own. Africa, America's backbone. If we take our spine back, where will you go? For your oils and your gold and your new phones. 80% nicotine from Congo. And John know they make our maps look small, low. Africa be bigger than what they show. John know they make our maps look small, low. 80% nicotine from Congo. Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, baby. Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, baby. Africa home again. Africa, Africa, Africa home again, baby. Africa home again. Africa, Africa, Africa home again, baby.
Be like say I dey go. If you look my face, you follow. Yes sir, I dey go to the motherland. Sick of that be the place I get the upper hand. And the be the vibe, the best I walk, baby, you can never tell another black man what he can't do, what he can't do. Can't tell me nothing, cause I'm never coming back. The place I dey go, we never go the lack. Keep on fighting, freedom fighter. Kelly beloved, put up your lighter.
Keep on fighting, freedom fighter.
Kelly beloved, put up your lighter.
Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, baby. Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa home again, that the motherland's waiting.